Email address, and then Maha108 with an exclamation is the password, and I think it's a capital M. find the file I want. I don't know what happened. Is there internet in Joy. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunivari Paschata. Please come closer. We promise not to shave your head unless you want it shaved. Any ladies want their heads shaved? No, it's not allowed. So what we're going to do first is I would like to ask you to share your experience from this morning. Now I will go first because I had a realization. So, have you ever been talking to a friend and you're having, like, you get really into it, talking about something, and it's like you're vibing, and it's like whatever it is, the creative project, or you're just relating, And then a third friend comes and is like totally in a different universe and disrupts the whole conversation. And it's kind of like someone just pulled the sweet ball off your plate right before you're going to eat it. Did that ever happen to you? Okay, I think it's happened to all of us. It's like, could you go away? Like, why do you have to be here right now? And he has no idea, or she has no idea, she's ruining everything. You have that experience? So I was chatting this morning and I was trying to be in a transcendental realm. And then a thought would come. I go, a thought, it's just like that friend. He ruined everything. Like I was just me and Krishna. And I was thinking, like, this morning, me and Krishna, we were together. We were chilling together. Yeah, I was chilling with Krishna in my Japa. We're hanging together, Hare Krishna. And then the thought comes and like ruins it. That was my realization. The thought is like that friend who pulls you right out of that conversation. And it's like now you're back in this other reality you don't want to be in while you're chanting. Because you'd rather be chilling with Krishna during Japa, right? And then you want to write a song called Chilling with Krishna during Japa. You can perform tomorrow. Okay, so that's my realization. It's my big realization for this morning, everyone. Well, I had others, but that was one I thought was interesting. Okay, who wants to share? You can have anything you share. It doesn't have to be like, wow, it was amazing. It could be, wow, that was really difficult. There's no requirements for quality. Yes?
It was hard.
Okay.
It was so hard. Yeah.
Because? Oh, Mike. Govinda. Tell us your trials.
It was very hard. Can you hear me?
Can you turn the mic up a little bit?
You gotta speak right into it.
We have somebody back there with. Yeah. He just turned it down. Turn it the other way. All right. Clockwise makes it louder. Oh, I think we have one more mic.
Okay, Hare Krishna. It was very difficult, and I was reflecting that in order for me to really try and meditate in the way that you wanted us to, just turn off our world and just, this is my time with Krishna, I need to be really regulated.
Really, like what?
Regulated. So I need to go to sleep at a certain time, wake up at a certain time, so that I can actually function in that way of like, okay, right now, nothing else matters.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big realization. That's good. Now, we were talking this morning about bureaucracy, as defined as talking about something and doing nothing. So we have the first half. You've got the first half down. So what are you going to do about it?
I don't know.
Well, if you did know, what would you do?
Create a schedule for myself and hold myself accountable.
Yeah, that's good. What time do you need to chant?
I would prefer to chant starting at 3 a.m.
Oh, is that practical?
I hope so. I mean, ideally, yes. If maybe the earliest, maybe most practical would be 4 a.m.
Okay, so between 3 and 4, that's doable. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, she's just told all of us she's going to start between 3 and 4. You want anyone else to be accountable? You have a buddy, like a friend who calls you at 4 o'clock and says, hey, are you chanting? Or someone, you're in Krishna house?
Yeah.
Oh, then someone in Krishna house can make sure. You can ask somebody to be your partner in crime and just make sure you do what you said you're going to do. You know why? Because we're more likely to do what we tell someone else to do than what we tell ourselves to do. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you for being bold and sharing. What I would like to add to this, which is super important, is that This is not something you just try once at a Japa retreat and think, I got it down, it's all downhill. No, it's actually all uphill after this retreat. It seems like it's going to be downhill, but every day, you have to do this every day until you get to prema. Before that, it's like this work is challenging, even for those who are doing it year after year. And I can speak from my experience. Every time I don't do that, there's a 50% chance it's going to go down. I think I got it down, I'm in default, good japa, it just happens. It does a lot, but a lot of times it doesn't. You have to correct, get it in the right direction. So, and if you feel like, oh man, that's hard, all I can say is, yeah, it is. But look what you get for it. You see this car, the latest Tesla, SUV, this and that, You get the price tag, oh, that's expensive. And the dealer says, yeah, but look what you get for it. So whenever you say that's hard, just tell yourself, yeah, but look what I get for it. And then you realize, actually, it's not that hard for what I'm getting, considering I can get love of Godhead and go back to Godhead at the end of this life. That's not much. It's not much to pay for it, is it? What do you think? Good price? Yeah. Okay. So that helps a lot when you run into this. It's hard. Yeah. What do I get for it? Now let me ask you another question. If you're not going to do something hard for Krishna, will you do something hard for your own life? Will you work hard for your own life? Of course. That's what everybody's doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, my dear devotees, in case you haven't noticed, we're in the material world where everything is hard. So you might as well do the hard things to get the best result, rather than do the hard things to get a result that will cause you to lament at the end of your life. You go, why did I waste my life doing that? I got the most toys of anyone on the block, and now I get to die. Yeah. Oh, congratulations. Good for you. Okay. Evan wants to say something.
My realization was that even though my mind wasn't getting so much in the way anymore between me and Krishna, there was still a lack that was in between me and Krishna. Like, I guess lack of things not in my mind, but things in my heart.
Oh.
Like lack of trust, lack of faith, lack of love.
Yeah, well, the lack of love is the problem, of course. But, let's take any of those. Lack of trust, lack of faith, lack of love. We can take any lacking. And when we're chanting, we can pray to Krishna to help me through the holy name. Krishna, I have no love. Help me love you. Please give me faith. Please help me trust you. And so your problem becomes your source of empowerment to chant. You know when you're in a situation, let's imagine this is the situation. They go, Evan, I have to talk to you. You go, yeah, what? What's going on? We're starting a Krishna house in Timbuktu, and you're going to be in charge. And they say, well, who's coming with me? Nobody. How much money are you giving me? Nothing. How am I going to get there? I have no idea. Do we have a place there? No, you're going to find it. You would probably chant some pretty darn good rounds the next morning, right? Krishna, help me, right? So I've done a little statistical survey here and found that in times of stress, that rates amongst devotees one of their top 3 days of japa. One was, my first day in Vrindavan. Second one was some Nityananda showered me with mercy. The third one was I was suffering like a dog, and I was just crying to Krishna. So the example that's given, I think this is a really good example, is like hunger. Is hunger good or bad? Well, if you're starving to death, it's bad, but generally hunger is a sign of health. And when you're hungry, that means you can eat and digest well. It means you're healthy. If you're not, when you get sick, you're like, I can't eat for 3 days because you're sick. So hunger is a good sign, but it's seen as a negative, but it's good because now you can eat. The best sauce, the best chutney is appetite. Everything tastes good when you're hungry. So the negative then becomes the positive. I don't have faith, I don't have love. I've chanted, I don't know how many rounds in my life, just begging to Krishna, feeling like a complete imbecile, idiot, ungrateful living entity for having turned my back and tried to imitate him, and him giving me all the love and me giving nothing back. And so I would pray to Krishna, please help me reciprocate. Please help this heart, which is always thinking about what do I want. Please help me stop that thinking. So the negative became the positive. Like when you're angry, so many bad things are going on in the world, planets being corrupted, governments are corrupted, this and that. You're so angry, what happens? You want to go out and help people. So the anger becomes positive, right? Because your energy. What do you think? That can work for you? Yeah. Let the negative be the positive. It's a beautiful meditation to think, Krishna loves me, I don't love him. How does that make you feel? You guys look pretty miserable right now. So how do you solve that? Krishna, I want to love you, I want to reciprocate. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Please help me. Now I have some good news for you. I've had this experience many times. That prayer works. And we'll talk about this tomorrow on Nityananda's appearance date, it's more applicable, but what you cannot do to change your own consciousness, if you pray, Krishna can change it. You just wake up the next, like you have a sore, you wake up the next morning, it's gone, like wow, it healed. Krishna's like that. You wake up the next morning and that mentality is gone because you prayed for him. So you want love, you want trust, you want faith, otherwise it wouldn't bother you that you don't have it. So that's good. That's a good sign. Krishna, please give me faith. He may do something, or he may send somebody who will tell you something, or he may reveal something. But it works. Yeyatamam papajante. I reciprocate. It works. Test it out. Try it. If you don't believe, this is my line, if you don't trust Krishna, well then test him on his promises. See, you're saying I don't trust him, that's your own lack, but it's not based on evidence. Okay, let's get evidence. We want evidence-based results here, Go, jump off the mountain, see if Krishna captures you. Then you can, if he doesn't, then you can say, I don't trust him. But until you jump off the mountain, how can you say that? I don't trust him. So Krishna says, I reciprocate. All right, test him, see if he does. And when he does, you will trust him, and you will have faith in him. And then you'll want to love him, because he's the most lovable. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay. Since we're an equal opportunities movement, we've done one woman and one man, so now we'll go back to the women's side. Any women want to share? Yes.
I was just thinking when I was doing Japa, just all the things that really does keep me, in a sense, try to take me away from really being in Krishna's presence. And one of them is I would say a lack of being submissive and trusting is and so I was just well, we went to a devotee's house and there was an altar there, and just doing the Japa and just realizing that one of the things that truly keeps me away is just that unwillingness to submit sometimes based off of a mistrust. And so I'd say to Krishna and to Radharani really helped me. So that was but yeah, that was like something that, because I was really trying to figure out like the things that really just keep me in a barrier. So, yeah, that was really nice.
Thank you. You know, something about faith, which is interesting. Oh, I have a story for you. You like this story. So, this is San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury, 1967. If you don't know what that's like, just go on YouTube, and there's plenty of videos. And it was a wild time. 300,000 young people came to San Francisco for the Summer of Love in 1967, to love and peace. And the more far out things were, the better. And so Jagannath came that time. You know Jagannath. The one with the big eyes, that one, he came. So the devotees didn't know anything about deities. So Jagannath comes. I don't know if you know the story, but the devotees found him at a place called Pier 1 or Cost Plus Imports. Found little Jagannath, and they brought it to Prabhupada. What's this? And Prabhupada said, oh, Jagannath is coming. Prabhupada bowed down immediately. And then they only brought one. He said, is there more? And I said, well, yeah, there's two more. So they brought Subhadra. Balaram and Prabhupada said, could anybody carve this? And Malati, who found them, said, yeah, my husband can carve it. So he carved it. Then Prabhupada installed the deities. Okay, you know Lord Jagannath is like, deity is, Krishna is present in his deity form. That's hard enough to get your head around. Then you have Lord Jagannath. It's like, that's like one step more, right? Isn't it? So there's Prabhupada, the pure devotee, telling everyone this is Krishna. And of course, it's San Francisco, 1967, so like, no problem. Yeah, that's Krishna. Yeah. And after what you've seen on LSD, this is like nothing. So everyone accepted because Prabhupada's a pure devotee, right? So how did we realize that Jagannath's in the deity? When Prabhupada said he's in the deity, it's like, okay, there's a God on the moon. Okay, there's people on the sun. Really? Yeah, they have sun. Their body's made of fire. Okay, Prabhupada said it. But it's like, what do we know? I just live in one city. I don't know much. But by serving the deity, there's some reciprocation, and you start to realize that Krishna's there. So you enter it with an acceptance, and then it's proven by doing it. So Krishna will reveal himself in the deity, in the Bhagavatam, in the holy name, if you're just open. If you keep your doors open so you let him in. And say, okay, Prabhupada said this, I don't realize it, but I'm open to it. Then Krishna will. You'll get that experience. Now I'll tell you one more story. This was such an emotional story for me, but it proves this point. So I was in a little country called Mauritius, which is a dot in the ocean between South Africa and India, and because you're all Americans, you have no idea where that is. That's one of your qualifications. Isn't it? Like when you show American a map and say, point to this place, they have no idea. Point to Africa. Is that a state? Is that a city in California? Anyway, if you want a geography lesson, you know where London is, right? That's pretty easy. Right? Just over the Atlantic. And you just go south, you get into Africa, and you keep going south till there's no more further land south. That's called South Africa. Then you make a left turn. Then you make a left turn, as you go south, you make a left, which is east, and that will take you to India. And on the way, just to the left is Madagascar. You get all the mangoes you want for free. And you keep going, and there's a little place called Mauritius. And then you keep going, there's India. So I was sent there in 1982, And we had this really nice place, like 25-room house. And the GBC wanted to install deities, so we installed the deities when I was the president. And if you ever install deities when you're the president, it's kind of special. It's kind of like your kids. You gave birth to them, right? So then we were going to buy the house. It's a beautiful house. It used to be like an embassy house, 3 floors. Yeah, it was great. Nice land. Yeah, we thought the guy would sell it for like $100,000, and he knew we wanted the house, so he was asking $1 million. And we said, for that amount of money, we can get a lot more. So, what to do? So we had a farm, and we thought, well, until we can get set up and buy land to build a temple, the farm can take care of the deities. So we ended up buying some land with a plan to build the temple, and we thought, you know how you think, you just build it in 6 months and it takes 6 years, something like 6 years. So the deities were on the farm for 6 years, and we built the temple. And in the meantime, I had left, and I had come back like 7 years later. I had been temple president, and I left. And I came back just to help the preaching, and the temple president couldn't do it. So then I was again the temple president, now with the job of getting those same deities that we installed back to this temple. So we called up that temple and said, okay, the new building's ready, the altar, this and that. So we're ready to bring the deities. And they said, no way, we're not letting the deities go. We're attached. They worshiped them for 6 years. So I was caught in the middle of I think the highest emotional experience I ever had. It was like Krishna leaving Vrindavan. And those devotees were saying, no, you're not getting him. He's not coming back. He's ours. He won't. And we go, what do you mean? He's on loan with you. He's ours. We built this temple. This is where he belongs. And we're going back and forth, back and forth. It was a total drama. And finally, they relented because ultimately they were our deities. And finally they came back to where they belong, and they drove up to the temple. And, it was like everybody was going completely bazooka, bam. Is that the right word? Everyone was going crazy, completely crazy. These are our deities, you're taking our deities, we're losing our deities. And then, the next day they all go back to the farm, and the deities aren't there. 6 years of worship, and they're not there. Could you imagine? And I'm looking at this, I'm going, this is exactly the point. When you serve, that you realize. How could you realize through a book that Krishna's in the deed until you serve? And you go through that experience. They're becoming attached to a stone, to marble. They're fighting over marble. No, that was Krishna. So that's how it works. You enter with faith and you execute with an open heart, an open mind, and then you leave space for Krishna to come in. And then you get that experience. And when you get that experience, that's it. It's your experience. That confirms your faith because you have the experience. Isn't it? Is it not? Can it be any other way? No. Thank you. Who would like to share now? Who would not like to share? Yeah, go ahead. If you would not like to share, raise your hand and I will call on you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So it was difficult for me. I tried
Yes.
switching the mind off and trying to think of Krishna pastimes. But then I was like, okay, which one I think of? Damodar Leela, this Leela, that Leela. I was like, maybe I need to read Krishna book more and figure out which pastime I like more. So it was kind of difficult which pastime to pick on.
This is serious. This is serious. We all have to go home tonight and meditate on which pastime. Tomorrow morning we want to meditate on this. Now I have to tell you something about this. About meditating on Krishna Leela. Meditating on Krishna Leela is the business of the pure devotees because that's what they naturally do. So, they know what they like, and those Leelas just appear naturally. They're in their heart. So Prabhupada was asked, should we meditate on Krishna Lila when we chant? Is it okay? Is it proper? Should we do it? The idea being, am I qualified? That was the question. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Is that how you chant? You just go into Krishna Lila and then you flick the channels. Hare Krishna, Damodar Lila, that's okay. Govardhan Lila, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Let's try a little Radha Kun pastime, Hare Krishna. Yeah. It doesn't work that way, right? So Prabhupada said, yes, the goal is to think of the Leela, but it should happen naturally. It shouldn't be like, Leela, get that Leela in there, Come on, Leela, stay in there. Now, which one is it? It shouldn't be that way. It should be natural. And it will come in an advanced stage. Like you say, of course, reading the pastimes naturally. But more importantly for us is to chant according to our level of realization, our level of need. And basically we need to become purified. So we're more like, Krishna, please help me enter the Leela, help me understand the Leela, or please reveal the Leela, or stop letting me think about my Leela. That's more where we're at. So it's an important point in spiritual life to not try to imitate a position that is not natural for you. The devotee just asked me a question. He said, there's this devotee who's going around kind of playing the role of more humble than a blade of grass. But the devotee said, I think it's low self-esteem. I don't think it's humility. How can we explain this? And I said that if anybody's going around, oh, Prabhu, I'm the most fallen, even the worms in stool, I'm not even good enough for that. You're going around like that, and you say, is it real or is it artificial? You say, well, it's easy to answer whether it is real or artificial because you can't feel that way if you don't have prema. So that kind of answers the question. But I don't know if it's real or artificial. You have prema? No, okay, it's artificial because that's a symptom of prema, right? So what's natural for you? What kind of humility is natural for you? Maybe I could serve prasadam today, be a little humble. That would help. Or maybe I could stop criticizing everybody. And maybe I could look at my own faults. So for us, that's real. But to go around, I'm a worm and still like, you don't feel that way. And if you do feel that way, call your local psychiatrist because you have a problem. Because you can't feel that way if you feel a worm and stool without prema, we're going to drop you off at the mental hospital. Because it's not natural, right? So anything in bhakti, it has to be natural for your level of realization. That's what works. And if you're trying to aspire to a higher realization, that's beautiful, but you can't imitate it. You can aspire for it. So if those pastimes come, fantastic. You could aspire that they come. I think for a lot of us, we're just aspiring to not be in our own leelas while we're chanting. Krishna, help me be with you, realize you are present in your name. Let me be present to your name. Now, the interesting thing that Prabhupada said, this is so interesting. We ask the question, should I think of Krishna's pastimes? Well, wherever Krishna exists, his pastimes exist, right? Because he does things. So, and Krishna is not different from his name. So, if Krishna is present in his name, his pastimes are present, because wherever he's present. So the pastimes are there within the name. They're not like, I'm going to chant. But that, we may not realize now, but it's kind of a theoretical idea, which it's just really important to know. We know this, but in relation to chanting and thinking of the Leela, wherever Krishna is, the Leela is. Should I think of Krishna's qualities when I chant? Wherever Krishna is, his qualities come with him. They're not separate. Guna. And should I meditate on Krishna's form? When I say Krishna, that is his form. It's non-different. But we don't realize that. So when we realize that, we don't have this question anymore. Like, famous question, am I doing this right? Usually if you have to ask that question, the answer is no. Because if you're doing it right, you would know. It would be obvious, right? Like I'm chanting Am I mindful, Hare Krishna? Am I present? No, if you have to ask that question, you're not. Because you're thinking about whether you're present, you're not present. So do it according to what's real for you. That will work best. And if thinking of the Leela is real and natural, fine, fantastic. And the next minute I'm thinking how I can, make an extra 10,000 in the stock market. Then nah, I'm not there yet. You ever meditate on that during Japa? Well, I can make this investment. That's our problem, right? We're so embroiled in this body, in this life, in this world, of which we've had millions, and this is so important to us. It gets in the way of Japa. I think I think it's obvious. Maybe we don't want to admit it, but it's obvious that what is in your mind is what is important, most important. That's what's there. So all this trouble we're having with being present with Japa, ultimately it means it must not be that important. Right? You're talking, two guys are talking, hate to be so straightforward, and a beautiful girl walks by. What becomes important now? Oh, sorry, Prabhu. Whatever is important is important. It just is, right? And that's where your energy goes. So if we're becoming distracted while we're chanting, then we can start this internal conversation and go, oh, what's important for me right now? It should be the japa, but something else. And then along with that realization, the other realization is how passionate I am, because I always have to be like what gear were you in this morning when you were chanting japa? You're starting to think and rev up the mode of passion, and I can do this, and I can do that, and you can't focus. And you go, oh, I can't focus. You can't be in the mode of passion and chant. That stuff can't be important to you while you're chanting japa, because it just takes you away. Does that make sense? So our lives are so passionate, we don't even know how passionate they are, because this is Kali Yuga, and that's just normal. And when things are bad and they're normal, you can't tell they're bad, because they're normal. So we are so passionate, we don't even realize our minds can't slow down. Okay? Can you just sit down in one place and just chant? I gotta get up, I'm gonna walk around. Isn't it? Yeah, we're like that. It's so bad in Kali Yuga, it's so abnormal, we don't realize it, how bad we are. We can't even sit down and just chant. And we can't quiet our minds for 2 hours. That's pretty bad, don't you think? It's kind of a disease. Anyway, so chanting becomes easier the more importance you give to it. So now it's early in the morning, I want to chant. It's very easy if that's what's important, right? And all of a sudden I'm chanting, there's my phone going, or whatever it does, and it's like, I wonder who that's from. I know I shouldn't read it. That's called phone addiction, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, when you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, in the Padma Purana, it is stated that the 11th offense is to have your phone on when you're chanting. And the 12th offense is to have it close enough so you can actually see it, because you might crawl over and turn it on again. So when you're chanting, your phone represents your life. Right? So if you want your phone and you want to engage it, that means what's going on in your life is more important to you right now than chanting Hare Krishna. So if you can just turn it off, put it in a drawer, lock the drawer and give the key to your buddy and say, don't give this back till you see 16 beads down in my bead bag. Then, until you come, hello, can you just give me the key for a minute? I hear my phone beeping. That could be my mother. It's like we're sick. We're addicted to the mode of passion. There was a play like this, and the mother put the phone of the kids like in a glass jar, and they couldn't see the phones in it. and the kids are going crazy and trying to break the jar. So your life is in your phone, and so if your phone's off and away, you got a fighting chance to get out of mode of passion. And so when you chant, it has to become the most important thing, nothing else. Because if anything else becomes more important, you start thinking about it. Yes or yes? Have you done that before? You start thinking about it. And you, after you go do what you have to do and waste how much time you wasted, you come back lamenting and thinking, that was a waste of time. I didn't have to do that now. I should have been chanting that. Sudevi, you ever done that? Come back lamenting. Why did I waste that time? That was like 5:30 in the morning. It's the best time to chant. And I was doing, this stupid thing, paying this bill on my credit card, whatever. Yes.
Well, on that point, and also a different realization I had. So I came here this morning, and I've been getting used to doing. And I remembered what I said. Oh, I'm not going to have my phone. But then I every morning turn on a Japa call, which is loading, and I thought, oh no, it's on my phone. So, I thought, okay, well, it's usually pretty okay, but then I noticed I start messing with, like, who's on the call? And then I go, should I mute, should I not mute? And it makes me really mental. So on one hand, I'm, like, kind of supported by it, and the other hand, it's like, maybe I just need to take a break from it. So that's one thing. And then the other issue I had was, I came here, and it was really cold, so my mind was going about that. And then we had Mangalarti, and then we had class, and I didn't get enough rounds done. And I always think to myself, if I don't have like peace inside myself to sit and chant, then I'll just do it later. Because I just found, I want to go to the class, or I want to help clean the kitchen, or I want to talk to this devotee.
Yeah.
So then I just keep postponing. Okay, and I realized I only chanted like 7 rounds. So it's like, I still have a lot of rounds to chant. And I think, I'll do it in the van. And I'm already picturing the van. Like, somebody will talk to me and I won't be able to control myself. So just how do you, because I love this concept of there's no time in this space. Can you do that like later in the day, or of course?
That's a good question. Can you do it later in the day? The answer is definitely yes, but the question is, can you do it later in the day? It can be done. Yeah, that's the answer. It can be done later in the day, but the question is, can you do it later in the day? It's more difficult. It's more challenging. And as my daughter rightly said, don't trust your future self. Oh, I'll do it at 3 o'clock. And that future self shows up at 3 with something else on her mind that she has to do.
And then that also brings me, because the other night I did chant till like 11 o'clock to finish my rounds, and I found it is a nice time to chant when my son is asleep and everyone's in bed and I just can focus. And I got into it, and it's even so much like I was more into it than, that morning even. But then other times if you try and do that, it's just like you're so tired. And a friend that was staying over, she said, when I'm falling asleep at night trying to chant, I just think Krishna's like, oh, Sparkle, go to bed. You're tired. Just don't worry about it. So I mean, she's not initiated, so I can understand like that is a good thought for her to have. Maybe like not that Krishna's like, please get your rounds done. It's weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to think of Krishna as like, not wanting us to be healthy, and then instead of thinking it's health, I don't know, service.
Well, there's two things that, I don't know if this is what you're getting to, but it's true, you can chant good rounds anytime, anywhere. But can doesn't mean you will. And so like you said, you chanted good rounds that evening, but maybe tonight you try it and it doesn't work, you're too tired. But what you can on chanting is good rounds in the morning. You know that, at a certain time. Like I like to read at a certain time because I know nothing will stop my reading. If I push it back to a certain time, then it's like 50-50. So it's better I read at this time. Then it always gets done at this time. And it might get done at this other time, but not always. So It's better to go with the certain than the uncertain. Now, let's add something to this. If something is really, really important, would you put it off for maybe later, maybe I can do it, maybe I don't think so. If once it hits a threshold of importance, then it gets shot up to the top. If it's not at that threshold, then it's like, maybe we'll try, and if I don't, we'll try tomorrow. So now let me address the other point. The other point is, yes, sometimes you don't finish your rounds and you're tired, and you might think, what's the point? These are bad rounds. All right, finish them tomorrow morning. I think that's acceptable. That happens to me a lot. If I'm chanting, it's like 10:30, and I have 3 rounds. It's like, what's the point? Just to get them done. I'll just do them in the morning, chant 3, and then finish. That always has worked better for me because the quality is better. And Prabhupada said we could do it. So, not that Prabhupada said don't make it a habit, but if need be, you can do it. And as I was saying yesterday, like, what's the point of chanting bad rounds? And I was telling you last night that those 2 hours when you chant are really your best shot at spiritual advancement of the whole day. There's really nothing you can do outside of, having a dream of Prabhupada or being in Vrindavan surrounded by 100 gurus. There's nothing really better that you can do for your spiritual life than 16 good rounds. And so, do you want to blow that opportunity? I don't think so. And I was at Mama Vijay's house, and he has a picture, or we'd say his wife has a picture. You have a picture of Radhanath Swami on your altar. And if you just look at that picture of him chanting, then that picture basically says in a picture everything that I said. It's like that. It's like that. It's like, what does that picture say? This is what I'm doing now, and this is important, and there ain't nothing else going on right now for me than my job. That's what that picture says. So it comes back to that, like you can make so much advancement in those 2 hours that anyone who realizes that and knows that just takes it seriously. They don't want to miss that opportunity. And if that's the way you put your japa, the perspective you give on it within your life, then all this shutting down and everything, that's just naturally what you would do anyway, because you give it importance. Yes? I was staying at the house of I was in this one time in Rochester, New York. I was at the home of a disciple of Radhanath Swami, and I had a picture of him chanting japa. And I was chanting japa, and I was looking at that picture. I was thinking, he's absorbed. It was like really good rounds, just looking at the picture of somebody absorbed. So yeah, that's how you chant. So I think you can't really improve your japa without putting that, giving it that priority in your life. Because if you don't, then you're just like fighting against yourself. It's like you're trying to do something you don't want to do. My daughter, when she was very young, she played violin since the age of 5. And I play instruments, but I never took lessons because I thought lessons weren't fun. And so when I watch her take lessons, I go, poor girl. Na, 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 na. My wife said, no, you don't hold it like this, hold it like this. Okay, all right, I'll hold it like that. No, it doesn't sound right, you're holding the bow wrong. I'm like, why? She's never going to want to play violin. It's just, it's not fun. So, why did I bring up that analogy? I completely forgot. Learning to play violin, practice. I forget. But anyway, we're talking about priority, right? Was it? I can't remember.
You're speaking about Radhanath Swami?
Yeah. Radhanath Swami, and looking at the picture and getting inspired. Yeah, she wasn't inspired to play. When I was a teenager, I picked up guitar. You know, the first day, I go, yeah. And I play every day for a couple hours, and I enjoyed it. You know, so you have to. It has to be something that is like it's so important and so valuable that it's not like, oh, now I have to practice violin. No, this is it. This is what I want to do. This is important. I get to be with Krishna for 2 hours. I can't wait. Jump out of bed 3 in the morning. Yes! Japa! We're gonna make a video, right, Stephanie? Yeah. Ryan's gonna make 2 in the morning, the alarm goes off, yeah. And he goes, 11 o'clock at night, he goes to sleep. 2 in the morning, alarm goes, Japa! First words, Japa, where are my beats? I gotta get them. Ah, nectar. I can't sleep anymore. Yeah, it's gotta become something like at some point, you know. At least theoretically in your head, it should be that way. That this is, you know, this is really important. And then it becomes really easy to chant. I was saying, I think with my daughter, it's like if you're in the mentality, I don't want to do this, it's just a lesson, I don't like it, it's like really hard to do. Now, would you like to guess if my daughter still plays the violin today or not?
Probably not.
My wife would never let me intervene with what the teacher was teaching, because I'd always tell my daughter, let's just jam. She goes, what's that? I go, I'll play the piano. You play in this key and it'll all sound good. But you know, that you need to get some taste. It can't just be, you know, I have to do this. My guru told me, if I don't chant 16 rounds, I'm going to that planet. All these schnick warmers, you know, drive me crazy, you know, for eternity. You know, it can't be like that. Okay, Partha wants to ask you a question or say something, right?
I did. I just wanted to ask in general what the progression looks like from, okay, mind is off, I'm focused on holy name, to thinking about Krishna.
How does that happen? Yeah, after 40 years. You can, if you're like reading Krishna book a lot, you'll naturally think of Krishna Lila, but it's not the same as realizing Krishna's in his name in Lila. That's a higher stage. So it's like in the beginning, you get what you get in the highest stage in the beginning, but it's different. It's not the same thing. You know, it's like you can play the guitar after 6 months, you know, Jimi Hendrix, but it's not going to sound right. But after 40 years, yeah, probably sound better than him. So it's the same thing, same chords, same notes. It's not the same thing because you're not feeling it yet. So it all progresses naturally. If you just chant properly, that's all you have to worry about. Let everything else happen when it happens. You don't have to worry. Like look at your watch. When the lagunas are coming, when the rupas coming, when the leaves are coming, you know. I've already chanted 6 rounds and there's no gunas. I'm not seeing Krishna's form. No, it's not even why we're chanting. We're chanting because it's purifying us. And everything else will come by Krishna's mercy. And you can't force it. You can ask for it. Krishna, please help me. With whatever you want help with, you can ask for it. And then just keep chanting. And let it happen when it happens. It's never going to happen fast enough, believe me. We all want it faster. Right?
He had his hand up earlier.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Well,
Hare Krishna.
my name is Brittany, and I just wanted to express my appreciation for yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And one of the things that you mentioned about feeling, I really appreciated that point because I wanted to ask you yesterday, like, what does it mean if I'm always crying during Japa? And you answered that. And so thank you. And then, so today, my mind definitely, I used to, before yesterday, I used to just allow my mind to wander and like accepted it. But today I kind of like had this accountability of taking inventory of those moments and breaking them much quickly. And so today when that was happening, I immediately jumped to the deities and New York because I recently moved to Houston Krishna House on Wednesday.
Wow.
From there, and I started crying immediately just from gratitude for them allowing me to come here and serve the deities here in Houston. And I just wanted to share that it's true what you said, just affirming that it is a feeling, and to be connected and aligned with their love and your love for Krishna, your love for yourself, really makes the Japa feel so wholesome. So thank you.
You're welcome. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
You mentioned the difference between your daughter playing the violin and not getting a taste for it, and you picking up the guitar and like, having this amazing experience. And yeah,
It had something to do with the amplifier and the effects, but anyway, go ahead.
You have an experience that blissful Japa, and it just feels like a chore. Like what do we do? You haven't gotten that.
What do you do when it feels like a chore? That's the question.
If we haven't gotten that experience,
Yeah,
what do you do when you pick up the
yeah.
guitar?
I think the best thing to do was a couple of things. But in that moment, when it feels like you're walking up a hill with 100 kilos on your back, there's a problem there. Now we're going to go deep into the conditioned psyche of the conditioned soul. The conditioned psyche of the conditioned soul is all about how do I feel? Isn't life about, hey, let's smoke this, then we will feel this. Let's go here, and then we will experience this. Let's go ski down a mountain, then we'll experience this. Let's go climb a mountain, we'll experience it. Let's go watch this movie, we'll experience it. It's all about our experience. That's how we were raised. It's all about me and what I feel. And if I don't feel good, the alarms are off. I got to do something to feel good. Take a drug, take a drink, go somewhere, do something. When I was a kid, I'm sure it's the same for you. Friday night, you get all your friends together, and it's like, what do you want to do tonight? And does anybody say, I don't want to do anything. I just want to just be here and ohm out. No, you want to go out and experience something. So it's like, what do you want to do tonight? More experience. So now we're chanting japa and we want experience. And when we don't have experience, sometimes it becomes difficult. I'm not feeling anything, I'm not tasting anything. Which for us who are raised that everything's about feeling, couldn't be like, doesn't get any worse than boredom. Boredom's like, it's the bottom of the pit, right? Isn't it? So in that moment, this is an opportunity for us to realize I'm not chanting to feel good, I'm chanting to please Krishna. So you switch channels and you think, okay, I'm not feeling anything. To which I always ask, when someone says I don't feel anything, I always ask, well, how does that feel? You can't not feel anything. You're just feeling, you're not feeling any love or any attraction. Boredom. And so you switch it around and think, okay, this is for Krishna. I'm just going to chant for Krishna. It's for his pleasure. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. What do you think happens when you switch the channel to Krishna's pleasure? How do you think you feel then? Number one, it doesn't matter how you feel anymore because it's not about you anymore, right? Now what happens when you please Krishna? You become pleased. So sometimes it's a shifting of the attitude of why I'm chanting. Okay, now, have you heard this story? Bhaktisiddhanta was taking darshan of the deities, and he took off his glasses, And he was on a balcony, and the deities were far away. He took off his glasses, and he couldn't see them. And his disciples said, "You're taking darshan, why did you take off your glasses?" And he said, "I'm not taking darshan to see them, I'm taking darshan for them to see me." Because Krishna likes to see his devotees. So I'm not doing it for my pleasure, it's for his pleasure. I'm doing kirtan for whose pleasure? Well, basically you have two choices, Krishna or your ego. So who's it for? You could become famous as a kirtan leader. Wow, the ultimate paradox. Couldn't get any worse than that, right? I think if you want to be famous, go just sing Baby I Love You. Don't sing the Hare Krishna mantra for that purpose. So the ultimate paradox. So as soon as we shift that I exist for Krishna's pleasure, I chant for his pleasure, not for my pleasure. At that moment, guess what happens? That's when you feel pleasure. That's one angle. Here's another angle. This is what Krishna wants me to do. And this is what Prabhupada wants me to do. And this is what gives Krishna pleasure. So it doesn't matter if it gives me pleasure because I'm just doing it for him. So if I have to suffer to give him pleasure, that's kind of nice. I kind of like that. You know? And it's like sometimes you go on book distribution and it's difficult and it's cold and you're out there and it's like, why am I out here doing this? You know, am I stupid? And in that cold and that difficulty, and people say, go get a job, you know, go get a haircut, you know. You experience a certain sweetness in the pain because this is for Krishna. You know Krishna is satisfied. So you're completely cold, humiliated, frustrated, angry, you want to scream at everybody, but inside at the same time you're feeling blissful because you know Prabhupada's happy. So that's what Krishna consciousness is. It's totally shifting our conditioning. So when you're in that mood, then you chant, then it's always like nice. Does that make sense? Hare Krishna. Anything else? Before? Yes, Evan.
I was experiencing this morning something that, you know, I've had very good experiences in Japa, and I try to take them cheaply. Sometimes, I just figured it out like this one little thing, whatever. I just focus on this thing, focus on Krishna's pleasure, on this thing, and then boom, I'm there. I'm in the zone. And sometimes when I experience, I'm trying my best, I'm praying to Krishna, I'm saying I really want to connect with you. I still don't get that. Despite my urgency, I just still don't get the taste.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the second half of his question. Or that's the sequel to his question. Krishna may be checking you out. So Krishna's like, okay, let's check out Evan now. I'm going to take away his taste. Let's see what he's going to do now. You know, is he going to be a fair-weathered friend, or is he going to space out? What's he going to do? You know, let's check him out. And so sometimes we can think when it's difficult and there's no taste, you're thinking, okay, Krishna, you're looking at me now and you're wondering, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to just no taste, I quit? Oh, that's it. That's it, Krishna. It's over. Actually, one devotee, one retreat on the 64 round day, at the end of the day, she threw her beads away. Because that's it, I'm finished. I can't do it. Because there was no taste. So then we understand Krishna was testing me. You know, what are you going to do when there's no taste? Is that why you came to devotional service? Yeah. Frankly, yeah, that is why I came to devotional service. Yeah, that's what I came for 2 reasons. Basically one reason. Well, I like the philosophy and I didn't want to work. Those are things. And I like, and Kirtan purified me, yeah. But especially not wanting to work was fun. And the philosophy, of course. Yeah. And then I'm working harder than probably I ever would if I wasn't a devotee, but that's fine because it's different now. It's always nice to think Krishna's looking at me, wondering, okay, what are you going to do, big boy? I'm just taking away your taste. Now what? You going to give up? And just as easily, he can give you the taste. You know, one time, I was in class with Prabhupada. Prabhupada is interesting. He's a multifaceted, Prabhupada's a multifaceted personality. So many emotions came up in Prabhupada's class. Sometimes really strong, really heavy, and sometimes really emotional. So this one class, Prabhupada was talking about Maya. Or he's talking about Krishna testing you. He said, Krishna will test you. That's exactly how Prabhupada said it. Have you come to serve me, or have you come to disturb me? We're all like 2 years in the movement, you know. And we're all So it's nice to be reflective, like, am I, Krishna, you're not giving me anything, so am I just like here for the money? Or am I here for the right reason in the long haul? And then you see that those become now opportunities. But okay, I'm just going to chant with devotion and bhakti, I'm just going to do this. Doesn't matter. I like it, don't like it. And then you come to the point where you can't not like it anymore, because now you're in the right consciousness. And in that consciousness, it's always sweet, even if it's not sweet. But that's kind of the point I was making. That if you have that consciousness, okay, whatever. But it's sweet because I'm Krishna's servant and he just took away the taste, and that's okay. I can let him do that. That's what he wants. But I always go back when the taste is taken away. I always go back and think, Krishna, you are really testing me now, because I don't really feel like chanting now. I could think of like 10,000 things I'd rather be doing right now than shnick shnick wam wam. But this is my vow, and you want to see if I'll do it properly with devotion right now. And so this is now an opportunity for me to show you that I've come to serve. So you can take it, flip it around, take it positive, and then it becomes ecstatic, possibly ecstatic, potentially ecstatic. So, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, mamas and papas, I think we should take a break. You look like you're ready to take a break. 10 minutes. Jump up and down, get some water, chant some Japa, go outside, buy a few books. I think, what does it say in that chart? 450 hours of workshops? 700 hours, how many workshops? Like 42 or some crazy number. On one, this is a word from your sponsor, 700 hours of workshops on one little USB stick. And then so many hours of kirtans and so many books, and we have the Japa affirmations. So let's take a little break, and let's say, why don't we come back in 7 minutes at 12:35, and all the Brahmins can chant their Gayatri, and all those who aren't Brahmins can pray to become Brahmins. And then we'll get into some more exercises that I'd like to do. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Go Premanandi.
Oh my God, I just realized something, Mahatma Prabhu. You remember the day at the Alachua Festival?
Did they at what festival?
Then we met Elena
Electra.
in Electra, the holy name. And then
Oh,
we
yeah.
were
Hari Manari. Radha Madhava Govinda. What happened to this mic? It's called I know what happened to it. It was never good to start with. Hare Krishna. That's what happened to it. It was always bad. It was always bad and it's getting worse. Oh, I know it. The speaker's behind me. Yeah, that's what. It's not a good microphone. Let's try this. Govinda, Govinda. Oh, that works. Okay, so I've created a guided meditation. I've created a meditation for what we discussed yesterday about leading your life. So I'm going to let you hear the meditation. I want to practice this a little more because it needs some practicing. So I'll let you hear this meditation. And if you like it and want to get a copy of it, then give Janaki your email. And you could use this as you need. This is a longer version, we have a shorter version. So we're going to see if it sounds okay on the sound system. So can you go ahead and play it and we'll see. And if it sounds good, then you just close your eyes and listen to it. And then when the meditation is over, we'll begin chanting. Sit comfortably, either in a chair or cross-legged on the floor. We want to come a little out into the present moment, to be mindful of our meditation experience. To do this, we have to unplug from our lives. Imagine the different aspects of your life as cords that are plugged into the wall. And one by one, you're going to unplug your work, your to-do list, your worries, your problems, and anything that's on your mind right now. Pull those plugs out of the wall and come into the present moment. And we want to empty our minds of distractions and unnecessary thoughts. Imagine there is a briefcase next to you, and whatever thoughts you have of the past or the future, put those thoughts in the briefcase and let them remain there during your meditation, knowing that when you finish, you can take those thoughts out of the briefcase. Now be conscious of your breathing. This brings you into the present moment. Be conscious as you breathe in and out and in and out and in and out Be conscious of what you are feeling now. And now we are ready to begin our meditation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Just you and the holy name, nothing else. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Govinda. You, the holy name, and nothing else. As soon as there's something else, there's something else. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. 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 Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram. Nothing more important right now than chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Okay, you can stop chanting. As I said, if you found that recording helpful, you can give your email to Janaki. You raise your hand. You know then who you are. The lady at the table. You can give her, and she can send you that. You have the longer, and that's a long version. I have a short version, just to kind of get you in the mood. So now, what I'd like you to do, if you have your phone or piece of paper, I'd like you to write down all your excuses for why you chant bad japa. Why I can't get up early, or my mind, or whatever it is. Just write it down. If it's something that's beyond your control, it's not an excuse because you can't do anything about it. I can't get up at 3 because I go to bed at 2. Yeah, well, you can't do anything about that. But if it's just an excuse, write it down. Excuses for why I'm not chanting better. Japa. Okay, I have a question for you now. You can write down more excuses later if you want. You may, after you hear the question, you may not need to. What would your japa look like if you couldn't use these excuses? Now, these excuses have been made illegal. You can't use them. What would your japa look like now?
I might try to come up with some other.
You can't use, it has now been made illegal to use any excuses. So what I would suggest writing at the bottom of your list is, I can no longer use these excuses. I think that determination should be made today. Because these excuses are going to come up. And then remind yourself, I can't use them anymore. Remember, these were excuses why you're not chanting better, so why would you want them anyway? And you can use this exercise for anything in your life. You look at the excuses and then imagine, if I couldn't use them, what would I do now? You can't use these excuses. How are you going to chant now? What are you going to do? And you can't make up more. How many of you want to try to do this? Okay, so then you just, when they come up, you just have to remember that I have now committed to not use them anymore. Do you know this is how successful people think? When something's an obstacle or an excuse, they commit to not using it because they know if they do, they won't succeed. It's interesting, isn't it? Someone once said excuses are arguments for our failure. So you don't want to fail in this area. So you don't want any argument to rationalize failure. That would be the worst thing you could do. So that means the only thing standing in the way between good japa and bad japa is the man in the mirror. Or to be politically correct, the man or woman in the mirror. This is very powerful, and I want to explain why. Because it's interesting. Have you ever blamed Maya on something? On a failure? So it was Maya. Or Maya made me do it. No, it's not actually. It was our own failing. Conveniently blamed on Krishna's illusory energy, which has no effect on someone who is determined to serve Krishna. So it might have been Maya who did it, but it was I who allowed her to do it to me. Just like I can yell at you. You don't have to get upset. You can choose. You can get upset or not. Ultimately, I wasn't the one to upset you. You allowed me to. So therefore, what is the biggest obstacle that we face? Is it Maya? Is it that I have a crazy mind or I'm a night person or any of those things? Not really. The biggest obstacle is within our own control, because we can make decisions that will help us, and we can make decisions that won't help us. And to not decide is also a decision. Whatever, we'll just let it happen. No, that's a decision. So if we can all decide not to allow ourselves to use the excuses that we make for bad japa, then our japa is going to become very good. And when your japa becomes very good, your spiritual life becomes very good, automatically, without much extra effort. Does that make sense? So we have, I think we're gonna end in 20 minutes, correct? Is that right? So I wanted to go more deeply into what we discussed yesterday about the feeling. And there's something that is extremely important to understand, which we kind of touched on when I was saying that we mispronounced the mantra, but it works. And why does it work? Because Krishna sees what's in our heart. He sees our intention. So, in Prabhupada's, I'm going to try to use this mic again. I think it was too loud, that's why it was feeding back. Govinda, because this mic is not good, and this mic isn't as bad as this mic. It's too much. We need Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Krishna, Govinda, yeah. Can understand me better? Yeah. You may have read in Prabhupada's books that there are other spiritualists who are not devotees who chant Hare Krishna, but some of them are chanting to become Krishna. You know, impersonalist or Maya bodies, they're chanting Hare Krishna to become Krishna. Instead, you might think, but if the Maha mantra is meant to develop love of Krishna, how could the Maha mantra aid one in becoming one with Krishna, or imitating Krishna? Because the Maha mantra is called Chintamani, and Chintamani means it fulfills all desires. So whatever you want, the Maha mantra will give you. But as we know, the Maha mantra has a specific meaning. Krishna, let me serve you, please accept me. Krishna, my friend, bring me closer to you. For we understand that's the meaning of the mantra, but you can ask Krishna for anything, right? So someone could be chanting Hare Krishna, leading kirtan, and that person could be thinking, just see how great I am. This is the best kirtan that's ever been led. Nobody can lead kirtan like me, right? So what is coming across in that kirtan? Something different from what the holy name means. And it will produce a different result. One time, there was a professional group, and they were chanting the Maha Mantra, and Prabhupada heard them, and he said they're not chanting Hare Krishna. But they were chanting Hare Krishna. You heard, I mean, that's what you heard. Hare Krishna. That's what you heard. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. That's what we heard. Prabhupada saying, they're not chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, what are they chanting? Prabhupada said, money. They're chanting money. Money, money. Give me money, give me money. Money, money, give me money. That's what Prabhupada heard. Everyone else heard, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Interesting, isn't it? Why did Prabhupada say that? They were professionals. If they perform well, they'll get jobs. If they get jobs, they get money. Listen to me, we're the best band. You should hire us for your next wedding. We'll chant Hare Krishna, we'll chant Durga, we'll chant Shiva, whatever you like. As long as you pay us, we'll chant anything that you want. That's what Prabhupada heard. So we heard Hare Krishna, and Prabhupada said they're chanting money, money. Isn't that interesting? So what does that teach us? What we are chanting is what our intention is. That's what we're chanting. What our intention. Our intention is what we're chanting. Oh Krishna, please, blank. That's what you're chanting. So my question to you, and this can be a question to yourself, is what are you chanting? What does your mantra mean? What is, or to put it maybe more clearly, what's in your mantra? Is it money? Is it fame? Is it bhakti? Is it service? What's in your mantra? Is it, oh no, 16 rounds? Is that in your mantra? Oh, how I gotta get these rounds done. I don't like this. Is that in your mantra? Because if it is, that's what your mantra means. It no longer means, Krishna, please engage me in your service. It means, Krishna, help me get my rounds done, because I don't like to chant. It's important to understand that, because otherwise we think we're chanting this pure sound vibration when actually we're not. We're chanting whatever is our intention. Isn't that interesting? So, ladies and gentlemen, what is your intention? What do you want? Oh, Krishna, please blank. What do you fill in the blanks? So that's what I'd like to do now, is have you fill in the blanks when you're chanting. So we've practiced a little bit about clearing the space. Once the space is clear, now you're free to put your emotion into it. So what do you want? Now, one really good exercise, you don't have to do this, but I will just suggest this. One really good exercise in terms of how to pray to Krishna is to think, what are your obstacles? Especially, what are your biggest obstacles? What do you think is preventing you more than anything from advancing in Krishna consciousness? What is that roadblock? Ego, lust, greed, envy, pride, all of the above. But for each of us specifically, right now, today, there's probably something that we really need to be facing. The demon within we need to face. So, Krishna, please, blank. Because the Maha mantra means, Krishna, please help me. With what? Or whatever you need. I just want to love you. Okay, please help me love you. I just want to be empowered to serve, to save, to help people, save the planet from ignorance. Krishna, please empower me to be your empowered servant. It's whatever it is. Krishna, I just want to respect everyone. I want to see the good in everyone. I want to be humble. Krishna, please. Whatever you need the most right now, that will be the strongest emotion within you at this point. Because it's not something you have to think about, because you live with it and you know what it is. And it's painful. What is that thing that's painful in your life that every time you act that way, you say, I hate myself and I am this way? What is that thing? Pray to Krishna for them. You know what it is. You feel it. Isn't it? Yeah. And the beauty is now I can turn off my world for 2 hours. It's just me and Krishna. There's nothing else, and I can pour my heart out every day. Krishna, help. That is amazing. That doesn't boast of. That will be the most amazing 2 hours you spend every day praying to Krishna from your heart for those things that are burning inside of you that you need help with. And it's not like any one thing. When it can be, every day can be different. When Prabhupada once explained this, he said it in quite an interesting way. He said, when you're chanting, you're calling to Krishna, and Krishna is coming and he's asking you, yes, you're calling me, what do you want? And through the Maha mantra, in your heart, you're expressing, what I want money, that's what I want. Oh, really? Okay, Krishna goes, here. Oh, money you want, take it. You want money, you don't want me? Okay, fine. Arjuna, Duryodhana, what do you want? I want your army. You don't want me? No, I want your army. Ah, take it. Whatever you want, Krishna will give you. Now, if Krishna came to you and said, what do you want? That would be quite an opportunity, don't you think? So Prabhupada's saying, you're saying, Hare Krishna, and Krishna's there saying, yeah, what do you want? It's exactly what's happening. And we're chanting spaced out and Shnikaloka, like what a waste. Complete waste. When Krishna's right there, and he's like, what do you want? Tell me. And you're like, shnik, well, no. Thinking about this and that, and Krishna's, come on, I'm here to help you, tell me. That's what it's all about. Now, In case you don't believe me, we have to get some Shastric reference for this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is really one of our great gurus in chanting, and he said, when you chant, you should meditate on the meaning of the holy name. You should be vibrating with its meaning. It means service, devotion, love. And the acharyas have given us list and list of meanings because those meanings are subjective to some degree according to them and their need. So there's millions of meanings to the holy name actually, according to your aspiration and intention. So that's what I like to do right now. When you feel ready for that prayer to Krishna, for whatever it is you feel that you most need help with right now, when you feel that, begin chanting, but please do not think what you need, feel it. It has to be something that you're feeling, what's important for you. It's not in your head. And you can take that feeling, place the Maha mantra on that feeling and pray. If you have to think, you're not doing it right. You might have to think a few moments to just reconnect, but you know what you need help with, right? You might say, I need help with so many things. Pick that one thing that you feel you need the most help with. And for some of us, it's just going to be, I need help being present when I chant. Krishna, help me be present. It can be a prayer for something to help you with your chanting. It can be a taste. It can be that. Japa Haridas prayed for a taste. Can we do it? Okay, so remember before you begin to unplug. And then when you feel whatever it is you want to pray for now, pray for it. And go out of your mind. Don't be in your head thinking about it. Be in your heart feeling it. And then express that feeling through the holy name. And that's what the holy name will mean for you at this present moment. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram. Okay, so we just have a few minutes left, and I'm feeling Krishna's not convinced. You're not showing enough. Like he doesn't know if you really want it. So try to convince him now through the intensity of your desire through the Maha mantra that this is what you really want. And we'll just go a few more minutes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Okay, that's some very bad news for you. This workshop is over. And I hope I've just given you a little spark of inspiration. This is just the beginning, just scratching the surface. But these are the two most important things that I can teach you. To clear the space and then clear your intention. And if you do that well, everything will come. So thank you for coming. I look forward to hearing all your amazing realizations in the future about entering more deeply into the holy name. And I just want to remind you that this is work that you have to do consciously and continuously every day. And I also want to remind you that Maya is watching you now. And Maya is saying, oh no, they know how to chant good Japa. I'm going to have to do something to get in the way and to distract them and make them lose their desire and make them feel this and feel that and get them so engaged they can't find the time to chant and make the excuses. That's what she's going to do. And so just be aware of that. It's a constant battle. And at 4 o'clock, we're going to Casa de Luz. For Kirtan, you're all invited. Where is Casa de Luz? Downtown. Let's go downtown and ask somebody. Well, you all have GPS. That's what we did in the old days. Ask people before GPS. So you're all invited. It's going to be from 4 to 6. And then tomorrow we're going to be here at what time? 11:30 to celebrate perhaps the most important day for us, Nityananda's appearance day, because Nityananda is really the distributor of mercy. And we so much need that kripa, that grace. And we'll explain more about why we need it and what it does and how to get it and who Nityananda is indeed. And why he's the one who delivers it and why we need that. So it's going to be amazing tomorrow. So we want to see all of you. And we will try to capture the mercy of Nityananda in a way that we can begin to purify and transcend the most contaminated, difficult parts of ourselves. That on our own we could not heal, but by His mercy we can heal. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Mahaprabhu ki jai. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Bhaktivinoda. You all look cold. I think if you dance, you'll warm up. What do you think? And then as your bodies exude heat, it'll warm up the room. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna I only want a devotion, no service life after life.